Hello, my beautiful Gemini friends, and welcome to your horoscope for July of 2023. We're Gemini this month. We've got Venus going retrograde, and that is hot news. Let me tell you what, because Venus is a personal planet, so it's closer to us. So we tend to feel the impact of a personal planet's retrograde a lot more than like when Saturn goes retrograde. Even though, I'm hot on all of these retrogrades, this one can feel a little bit more personal. Now, we've also got Chiron turning retrograde in the energy of Aries as well. So we're going to be looking over this new identity that's been coming, where you have been the wounded and the wounding. And what does it mean to integrate all of that and reassess your journey right now? So plenty going on this month, Gemini. Let's not waste any time. I don't want to hold you up. Let's get in here and see what the month has to offer, okay? So first of all, right at the beginning of the month on the 3rd, we have got a full moon happening in this delicious energy of Capricorn. It is opposing Mercury in Cancer, trying to Jupiter, got a little side eye over here to Saturn. What a wonderful full moon. Now, the full moon is asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. So it can be a time of revelation. Okay, and in the places and in the ways where Capricorn, your 8th house, is lit up here. So things that you need to take responsibility, or you have an obligation to detox, right? To shed, to let go, to say, I can't be connected to this partnership anymore. This is a wonderful, wonderful energy. And remember, at a full moon time, in the full moon cycle, everything that has been building to this culmination for some time. So typically what is arising up and out of us into our consciousness at this time is not really a surprise. And now it is time to shed it, let it out of the pores, sweat out the toxins. You know what I'm talking about. But other things I think about here is the fact that there is this illumination of intimacy. That's the 8th house, where we have intimacy and assets. We have just, there is an intimate, you see into me, you move, I have to move kind of connection to the sources that are around us. So there is this illumination of also, where do you have your commitments placed? And are they the right ones? So if you needed a loan to go to school, to take on whatever, if you needed to consolidate debt, if you needed to do any of those things, if you need to have a really emotional conversation in your relationship about responsibilities, about, the word dependent keeps coming up to me, probably because the sun, that's Cancer sun energy, is on the other side. So you may just be having a conversation that is really encouraging a rebalancing of the intimacy and expressing where you want to exercise a different level of responsibility and commitment. And this is really important. One of the places I think about this, because it is the 8th house of relationships, right? Intimacy and assets, is that you're maybe out there married, or thinking about being married, or even taking on some kind of joint resource. And what I think about is the asset of time, right? The gift of time that we have. And you're thinking about hitching your life for 6 months to some other resource. Don't settle. Make sure it's the best that it can be. But also, before you downplay it, this is the intimacy part, right? Like, you really see into me. It's my private place. Before you dismiss an opportunity or a person or a connection as not being the best that it can be, make sure you are the best that you can be as well, right? So it's this really, like, man, it can get really practical here to help you have this realization of where you need to cut ties or where you can stay. All right, on the 10th, we've got Mars moving into the energy of Virgo until August 27th. Now, this is going to light up your 4th house space, home, family, real estate, property. So you're taking action in some way around your housing, around things with your family, your parents. This could absolutely be that. But I'm pretty big about talking about the emotional foundations that come from the 4th house as well. So again, I have this question of, in any way, shape, or form, from where you're living to where you're feeling emotionally grounded, are you selling yourself short? Not saying, are you living in the biggest house that you can live in, but, in your space, are you keeping up with your home? Are you being honest about the type of home that you can afford and that you can have in your life? Do you have confidence in the space and the place that you're living? And the first form that you are living is in your own body, right? So don't sell yourself short. Keep a high standard. Don't settle here. Now, Mars is still Mars. So one of the things I also think of is if there is a conflict that needs to happen or something that needs to come up and all the cards need to get on the table, Mars will help to spotlight that for sure. But Mars here is also very good. It's Virgo, right? It's very good for getting things done. If you needed to wash the walls and the baseboards, that is Mars in Virgo, okay? Like you are getting to the baseboard, you're cleaning that little pipey thing behind the refrigerator, whatever it is. You can also just use the tension that Mars can sometimes bring to the table to help get things done, literally move them along. And it's the detailed stuff, okay? It's probably not, I'm just folding the laundry. It's like, oh, I'm folding the laundry and now the closet's all color coded. Okay, when we get to the 11th, we see Mercury enter into the energy of Leo, and this lights up your third house space. Writing, teaching, speaking, communicating, contracts, deals, buying, selling, things with siblings, your website. I think this is phenomenal for things like that, but also maybe you're taking a course or something like that, or teaching a course, okay? Mercury in Leo is going to be here just to the 28th before it gets into Virgo with Mars. However, while Mercury is in Leo, this is big thinking, right? This is like big cat energy of your mind, of your voice. So you could be really focused on doing something bigger. You're brave in your thinking. You're like, you know what? I'm going to teach this class. I'm going to give this presentation. I'm going to say this thing. I'm going to let it come up and out of my mouth and out of my being. And it's a really wonderful energy because it's a great place for, Gemini, for you to lead. Become a leader. Become the information hub, right? It's okay for people to come and ask you for information and you can say, yep, I can absolutely tell you where to get that, how to get that, how to do that, whatever it is. There's a bigger, bolder, big cat-like energy that becomes available to you. Now, one thing I will tell you is if you wanted to sign a contract or do something like that as it lights up your third house, I want you to go back over those details. Okay, use that Mars in Virgo to go back over the details, because sometimes we can be so excited with Mercury and Leo that it's like, I didn't hear you say that this was going to cost me 27% interest. I was just so excited about the car. You know what I mean? So just slow down and get into the details, especially if you're signing a contract, but know that you're pretty cosmically supported, at least in the general. All right, on the 17th, we've got a new moon happening at 24 degrees of Cancer. Now, the new moon, we're going to plant our seeds of intention to begin something new, to take us in a different direction. And remember, it doesn't have to always be a brand new project. It can simply be, I need new perspective. I need to allow myself... I need to call in the ability to Cancer, accept help, accept support, have a willingness to be dependent in some way, right? To take responsibility for making improvements by shared resource. This could be a wonderful energy there. Now, of course, this is happening for you in your second house, Gemini. So this is about money. This is about money. This moon is in opposition to Pluto, but it's also got a really lovely combination of conversation over here with Neptune that I think brings this willingness, because it's not always easy to be in the receptive position. Okay, especially around Cancer. Is it something with family? Past family beliefs around money, something having to do with needing to accept help. I worked with a client once who, I'm going to just share this with you, but I worked with clients once who had been in a position for her life for a very long time where she made very, very good money. She ended up getting injured and had children to take care of and needed to accept some help from family members, from her community. And it was so hard and genuinely painful for her. And this is kind of this energy that I think of at this new moon, which is, where can I actually welcome in support and receptivity, right? And this would enhance my life. It would enhance my money. So here in your second house, where can you accept support from a financial planner, from someone who's doing better financially than you or seems to have their money, somebody whose confidence, their self-esteem, their relationship is on par? Like, who is doing something in a way that you want to do it, that you kind of admire the success, this is a wonderful information to recognize that maybe you could have support and be aided in that. I love this moon here, okay? Now, on the 22nd, busy day, we've got Venus turning retrograde in the energy of Leo, and we've also got the Sun moving into the energy of Leo. Now, this Venus retrograde, we really started in the pre-retrograde shadow time on June 19th, and we will go to post-retrograde shadow time all the way until October 7th. Now, we're watching the degrees of 12 to 28. I should really say 28 to 12 since we're backing up. Okay, so make sure you locate those degrees in your chart. And again, I've got this beautiful video with Nicholas Polomonakis, so check it out on this channel about the Leo retrograde cycle. And we are hearkening back to 2015 in your life. What was going on? What did you give up? You loved something, you wanted to be creative, you wanted to take something on, you gave up something. What was it? Because this retrograde cycle and the reassessment of relationships, of finance, of your thinking, of decisions, third house, where this is happening for you that you made, Gemini, are really coming back up. And they're coming back up for review and for a healing that you will likely feel like you have received by the time we land in October. What I want to say to you too is that some people, like, you guys will put it in the comments every here and there. It's like, oh my God, Mercury's going retrograde, I'm terrified, or Venus or Mars. And astrology and life are not built to be a terrifying whapping ride through here, right? If you have fear around any of these planetary movements, I would ask you to sit and to write and to be with that. What is it that you're genuinely afraid of? Because Venus retrograde, Mars retrograde, any of the retrogrades is not the root of the fear. What is at the bottom of that has got you feeling like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? Go to that, put it on paper so that you can see what the real fear is. And by seeing the root of the fear, then we can create a plan of action to come to the other side with the healing of it. And maybe that's just what this Venus retrograde period is about for you, is figuring out what the fear is that you have in this particular area, or what the blockage is. Now, I also believe that retrogrades bring, through the assessment, the reassessment alone, a ton of freedom, like so much freedom. They're like, is that freedom? That's for me. And I think that you have that very much so available here, because you're not who you used to be, Gemini. You're just not. So we also need opportunities in life to stop and look back on who we've been versus who we are now, so that it encourages us to value what we have and who we are in a different way. And this retrograde is very much so a story of that, okay? Then we're going to see the Sun move into the energy of Leo, of course, lighting up that third house space. So over this next month, you've got the opportunity to, Leo's outgoing. It's a more outgoing energy. It burns with the intensity of self-fire, and we need this. This is the area of your chart that does not compromise and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to do it like everybody else. This is the area of your chart that is like, nope, here's how I shine. Here's my touch of flair, glare, and drama. And this is how I get down. So it's an awesome opportunity for you to enjoy this exploration and unconditional love of yourself in this area of your chart. Now, how are you expressing yourself? Is this right for you? Because sometimes what we find out is the way that I'm expressing myself, thank God we're in a Venus retrograde, right, is actually tied to a version of me that doesn't hold the story that's true for me today. So, but whatever it is too, I encourage you, Gemini, have some fun. Oh my goodness, have some fun in the third house area. Put out messages to your friends, send funny texts, allow yourself a little levity. As we get to the 23rd, we see Chiron taking a retrograde in Aries, and this is going to light up your 11th house space. Now, this retrograde, we are watching the degrees from 19 of Chiron, 19 of Aries, to 15 of Aries. And we actually saw Chiron begin its pre-retrograde shadow dance at that 15 degrees of Aries, March 29th. So flash back a little bit. What was starting to come up for you, especially around your identity, who you are, this is me, my body, how I show up in the world, what I do. I have been the monster in some people's story. I have been the hero in some people's story, right? This Chiron and Aries deal is really about the integration of a full identity, that I have been both the wounded and the wounder, and it makes up who I am today. And then as this retrograde is happening all the way until April of 2024, what you have the opportunity is to see if you have integrated the pieces of yourself, right? Have you pulled this identity together? Because the fact is, since 2020 till now, you are carrying a different vibration of identity. What has changed for you? Where do you not doubt yourself anymore? Where are you still doubting? This is where the reassessment of the Chiron retrograde, of the wound and the wounding, really becomes vibrant, because there's just no way to travel this journey without wounding and being wounded. And this is a place that we have to go back to, because not everybody's a narcissist that you have dated. They're just not. Where are you in your own story, right? We have to go back and look at that. And not everybody is the hero that you've been around, but where are you a hero in your story? So it really is looking at this space of balance, okay? When we close out the month, we're going to see Mercury enter into the energy of Virgo with Mars there. Now we've got the mind and the action kind of on a more pragmatic, less glamorous kind of vibration. And so again, this is where you're making some changes, taking some actions, making some decisions in your fourth house: home, family, real estate, property. And remember, you're going to get a longer time with Mercury here, because Mercury is going to retrograde in the energy of Virgo on August 23rd. So pay attention, start some things, be a little bit more grounded here, right? Get into the details. Now you've got the action and the energy. You've got the Mars and the Mercury coming together and being like, oh, okay, I need information on how to do this. I can also have people share their information with me, and I find it a little bit easier to receive. There's this element of service and being helpful and knowledgeable, and finding a system and a routine for you in your daily life that actually works and functions in a way that allows you to have a daily routine set up in a manner that is like, I do this because it provides this result. You know, it's the difference between I get up at 6 a.m. because that's just what happens for me, and I get up at 5:30 to rise with the moon because it allows me to calm my system and my cycle and join the day, right? Things become a bit more intentional, and you've got a fair bit of time to work with this fellow mercurially ruled sign to get your practical daily habits down in your fourth house, okay? All right, my beautiful Gemini friends, I hope you have an absolutely gorgeous month. Please like this video, because when you like it, it allows other people to find the channel and find the tribe. And I think we've got a good thing going here. So we want more people to join us in here and join the journey of some consciousness, okay? Let me know how the month fares for you in the comment section down below. I love you, and I'll see you next month.